Hi everyone, welcome back to Metanoia. My name is Carrie Jane, and today we are going to talk about the 5 global year and the 8 global month. If you haven't done so already, please check out my video on the February numerology forecast, which was the 5-year, 7-month, as well as my video on the 2021 yearly forecast. That will put some things into perspective. And I would also like to thank my Patreon supporters for making this video possible. If you would like to know what your personal year is, what your personal month is, please sign up for my monthly readings through Patreon. The link is in the description, as well as links to other relevant places that you might be interested in. And please subscribe and hit the notification bell because, as some of you know, I have been making less videos to try to catch up in other areas of my life. In making this YouTube channel and doing some other stuff that I haven't mentioned here, I've kind of neglected certain things like writing my book, trying to get ahead professionally in other areas. So I'm just trying to take some more time out and invest in those things. And so when I do post a video, I want you guys to know about it. So hitting that notification bell helps a lot. I also just really miss you guys. I really miss waking up every Friday, which is when I would usually film, and putting together a video and the excitement of publishing it a few days later, and just having that every week. I do miss it. I do miss you guys. I miss reading your comments. Please know that I do have other videos. I have a lot of other videos that you might be interested on my channel if you just dig a little bit, especially in my playlists. So keep that in mind if you are trying to figure out other stuff to watch. I know in quarantine, if you're like me, you just struggle trying to find stuff to watch all the time, you know? It's just like you can't go out and switch it up, so you end up just watching television constantly. You run out of shows to watch, so just a quick reminder there that I do have a lot of other content, and the times that I do get to film like today I appreciate very much because, like I said, I do miss making these videos for you guys, and I hope you guys are okay. As I always say, I think about you all the time. So let's get to it. There's a lot to talk about as always, and if you have been following my channel up until now, you know I've been very curious to see what happens in March, and you will soon find out why. 5 is about the senses, and 8 is about the physical world, and it's in this way that this month becomes about experience, the quality of experience, and I feel like there is this theme of what is tangible. A big question to ask this month is what has value? We as humans mostly live in our mental spaces. We live in ideas and the future and the past, and you know, just mostly mental or even fantasy kind of areas. As weird as it sounds, you know, we're not always very much in the moment, and this is especially true from the month we just came out of, the 7th month of mental spaces, of careful reflection, of ethereal things, of spiritual everything. Now it's time to kind of snap out of that a bit. Now it's time to get back to work, and as we come out of those mental spaces and that dream that we were dreaming, make it happen. And yeah, for a lot of people, they relate to what I just said there as their life dream, okay? Their personal goals. That is true, but also we have to think about this collective dream that we're dreaming. Separation is an illusion. We're all connected, you and me, even though you're not in the room with me. We share a connection, whether you like it or not, whether it feels like that is so or not, you know, because we're all in this illusion of separation, in this illusion of individuality. So we really have to consider the collective dream that we want to put into reality, physical reality now. Like I said, it's about the tangibles. Going back to those mental spaces, just to understand where we are now real quick, it's very easy for those things to become further distorted, or for hopefully some people came into a point of disillusionment where reality, like I talked about in the last video, started to become more, I don't know what the right word is for this, but becomes more clear. There's more clarity. I believe I talked about in the last video, etc. Just watch that last video. The point that we get to here is eventually, I think especially for the US, if you live here, what's likely to happen when you have this kind of number combination is, if the disillusionment hasn't happened mentally, something happens in our physical reality to pull us out of that, possibly rather abruptly. And if you have been following, again, my videos up until this point, you know that this year, this entire year, is about a reconstruction, okay? The number 5. The number 5 is freedom, liberation. And the number 8 is our physical reality, but also it's our finances. So I don't know what's going to happen this month. None of us know what's going to happen this month, but there could be a challenge regarding our financial institutions, or just our institutions, period. We know that it's on shaky grounds. We know the stock market is a lie. We know we're constantly being manipulated. The number 8 is also about power. So the theme this month is reflecting on what is power, not just what has value, and the unequal distribution of power. I was so curious to see what happens this month, because in a in a good scenario, there is finally some sort of checks and balances on our power structure. And this number combination is going to happen again in December. So if anything is not going to happen now, it might happen at the end of the year, or it's possible that something gets initiated this month and we see that play out later in the year, specifically December. But despite this, there is something about this month where we could also see something happening with our justice system. So 8 is also law. It is, I kind of associate the number 4 and 8 with Saturn, if you're an astrologer, just to like help you conceptualize what this month is about. So think finances, law, abundance, all these matters, and a reconstruction of these things, these institutions. That is why I am so curious to see just what happens in March. And now that I'm here, and now that I'm like feeling it out, I'm kind of excited about March. I don't know if justice will finally be served in March, but I do feel like at least there is a potential to steer things in a different direction in these areas. And I would like to invite you, if you like to meditate, if you like to set these kinds of intentions for yourself, to, for a month, switch that perspective out towards the world with the intention of equalizing the power, okay? We are not greedy people who want all the power. We merely want a fair game for once. We want that lie that we were told where wealth is trickled down to actually come down for once. We want balance, okay? We want checks and balances. We want justice. And so if you like to meditate, construct some kind of visualization this month where you see that inequalities level out, and finally people on the bottom are able to live their lives. Because if not, if we don't put our attention on what's happening right now, it's up to us, but it can get worse and worse in ways that are hard to imagine. So your consciousness, your thoughts, your intentions matter this month so much. And when I give the personal monthly readings about anything, okay, whether it be a year, a month, etc., I always tell the client, be careful what you think this month, because you just might get it. So this is a time to feel empowered. I know we have felt anything but up until this point. We feel, a lot of us, helpless. A lot of us feel stuck in our circumstance. This is an opportunity. March 2021 is an opportunity to steer this ship around and actually make an impact to such a point where we start going in a different direction and we all of a sudden do have abundance, okay? And because 8 is the number of finances, like, yeah, there's a good chance we'll get our stimulus checks this month. I believe they are, for us in the US, are supposed to be getting that this month, although the timeline is unclear. A lot of us are getting our tax returns this month. So yeah, this could also just literally be financial abundance, or really relief. Mostly it feels mostly like relief at this point. If you are, just like a regular person trying to get by like the rest of us. So yeah, the best case scenario is those stimulus checks, those relief checks come. There is some kind of checks and balances, laws get passed that actually fight fascism, that actually fight this power structure that we've had forever. Best case scenario, the status quo is challenged. If you saw my 2021 forecast video, the thumbnail in that video is the tower. And I always thought about March. Like, for whatever reason, while I was making that video, I was just constantly thinking about March. I was like, this is when it gets shaken. And we've kind of already seen that in some places, with GameStop and the stock market. We know who's behind the curtain. We really do. We just need to really yank that curtain away for good and have that person or entity or thing, whatever the heck you want to call it, be exposed, and whatever happens after that happens, I guess. But anyway, so a kind of worst and best case scenario, which sounds very strange, but this is also kind of the nature of the 8. It's things could go in a completely 180 turn because of the entropy of the 5. We have kind of this chaos, this chaotic feeling added into the mix. So the nature of this month is sometimes the worst case scenario is the best case scenario. Sometimes a complete collapse of our financial institutions, as stressful as that would be at first, is what needs to happen in order for change this year to actually happen, if you catch my drift. So the reason why this is good, as stressful as that might be, is that we kind of need to come back to what's physically real. As I said towards the beginning of this video, the question here is what has value, okay? So when stuff like that happens, if it ever does this year, that's what it brings us back to, really what matters in my life. What things do I need and what things do I not really need to hold on to, especially in our physical reality. Just to take a moment to reflect on what I think we base our value on, personally, in my experience and just living as a human here. I think that we, unfortunately, as humans in this day and age, mostly base our value on what things do for us. And this has, I think, harmed our relationship with everything. This has harmed our relationships with people, our family, our friends, our romantic relationships, but also our relationship with our environment. When we are only focused on what things do for us, it's a condition and it's a sickness. And it keeps us from having not just a healthy relationship with everything in our external environment, but a relationship with ourselves. We have to learn, acknowledge, and remind ourselves that our human monetary system is based on nothing. It has no value except for what we want it to do for us, for what we expect it to do for us. And it has value because we kind of have had no choice up until now but to give it value. It only serves a small percentage of us, and we all kind of need money right now because that's how it is. But truly, like, examine what part of this entire system should you be participating in, truly, and to what extent. That is something that's going to be unique to your circumstance. That's not going to be a universal thing, but consider that. And we just have to remedy our entire construct on money. Money doesn't feed us. Food does, okay? Money doesn't clothe us. Clothes do. Okay, money doesn't produce these things. Human beings do with their effort. And I know for the longest time, we've had this fake system to measure inadequately the amount of effort it takes to do this and then give that to people as income. But the system doesn't make sense anymore. It is only made to serve a few people, and it's all about the tangibles, guys. Like, Earth makes these things for us, okay? Not Apple, okay? It sounds very strange to a lot of people. Like, I went to the New York City climate strike that happened in 2019. I made a video about it that nobody watched. And my sign was a lyric from one of Aurora's song, The Seed. And the sign said, "You cannot eat money." And mostly I had a lot of positive reactions from that sign. But I do recall one guy saying, like, but how would you buy food? Like, this is what we have to get over. You are a sovereign being in the universe. People make food, okay? The earth makes food. Money does not, okay? It does not generate food. It is paper at the end of the day that we can use as Kindle, okay? And now it's even worse because now it's like mostly digital currency, which is really nothing. We give money value because we have no choice to, living in a world where energy production we're kind of like stuck with that model. Even though we have invented technologies that would almost make that amount net to zero. But if we decided to embrace that kind of lifestyle, then a few people would not be able to live like gods. So here we are. We're still stuck in this false paradigm where we think we have to have this inequality and this constant hierarchical system of power to live. And it's not true. We need to move forward. This is the age of Aquarius. This is the kind of stuff it's going to challenge on the positive side of things. Aquarius, the negative side of Aquarius, can get really strange for many different reasons. It can also produce fanatics. It can also produce people who are lost and detached and in like crazy scenarios, okay? Because it's out there. Aquarius is a strange energy for the world since we've been kind of experiencing a lot of Saturn and Piscean energy up until now. And I'm not an astrologer, but we are entering a new chapter, and it's going to have to take our ability to really examine these structures in a way we have never done before, how that translates to the collective, how that translates to our individual lives. Why do we want that job? Why do we want that car? Why do we want that new computer? Is that computer going to give us a tool to enhance our lives in multiple ways? Or do we want it because we feel insecure without it? We feel a lack without it. 8 is about infinite abundance. When we challenge these things, we can actually tap into the infinite possibilities of everything when we are instead focused on what we already have and why we're doing what we're doing with our finances and our physical possessions, etc. Some advice that I have for everyone this month is, how can you feel like you have enough this month? And that could be a very small thing that you can do, or perhaps you're ready to do something bigger, and that's okay. Allow yourself to do that. What kind of financial decisions essentially can you make to give yourself more freedom? So this could be planning a trip to a friend's house who lives far away, maybe like a nice road trip, or you're finally going to invest in that new piece of technology that will bring you closer to freedom, your goals. Maybe you want to create more, make a side business out of it. We kind of unfortunately, but also fortunately, have to monetize our hobbies, a lot of us, to be able to afford another bill, like if we're going to be spending time on something. So it's like, what financial decisions can you make to bring you closer to freedom? Get creative with that. I listed a lot of really basic examples, but it's just everything that you do this month. What value is in it? Okay, think about the time that you're putting into something. Even when you make a cup of tea, think about the value of the time that you're spending with your tea. 5 and 8 is also about the quality of experience. So my advice is to enjoy something. This is my personal year and month, so this cheese making kit has just been sitting in my cabinet for like a year now. Haven't touched it. Have been wanting to make cheese for a long time. I'm gonna try to make time for this. I'm gonna try to do this so that I have something. It's kind of like decadent. It is indulgent, making cheese, and I'm learning how to do something new, and this is like a fun thing for me. But besides that, it's about enjoying the quality of life. I'll get to have a fresh slice of cheese. That'll be a new experience, a new indulgent experience for me. I have been saving for months and months and months for various things. This month I'm going to act on it now. You need to really act on something this month based on whatever dreamland you were in February. And as always, if your birthday, the month and day you were born, adds up to 9, like me, this is your personal month and year. And so you definitely should be doing that. And as far as everyone else, you of course will be going through your own personal cycles. And that's what my Patreon service is for, to explain to you what personal chapter you're moving through right now. So, but I think that this could apply to everyone. I just, I can kind of like sense that we know. I think we just know more than we think we know. That sounds very cryptic and vague. And I would challenge, if I was listening to this video and, watching myself as a, audience member, and I would probably be like, that's not very helpful and it's not very specific. And I get it, but there's a lot happening beneath the surface always that we just don't even know on a daily basis. And all we can do is focus on this month, what's right in front of us, what can we work with right in front of us to help us throughout the rest of the year. If it were up to me, I would have the entire justice system challenged. I would have our entire monetary system collapse. It sounds horrible because it does affect some people, but mostly it affects the people at the top the worst, and more than it does us. Trust me, we should not fear an entire reconstruction of our monetary system, because it needs to happen if we want to make it on Earth that has real resources and a real biosphere and a real everything that our economy has never considered. We've never had a resource-based economy. It's time to make that. And to me, that's what the 5 and the 8 could potentially be about. And I'm kind of making this video hoping that the few people who hear it are aware of this once they hear it. And I just hope to like make a small difference, you know. Maybe if we do get enough people's attention on this, we could change it. It's like I always say, up to us. And I call these videos forecast videos, but they're really not, because you can't predict the future. The future is always changing based on the slightest factors of chance of decisions that we make. It can completely change everything. But I'm just gonna patiently wait and hope that something real happens this month that gets us on a different trajectory. And your involvement is so important. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this long video. I love you all so very much. I hope you have a decadent March to the extent that you are capable of, whatever that looks like for you. Enjoy this month. Experience the quality of life. This year's going by very fast. It's going to be a very fast year. So I'll see you all very soon. Okay, so take care, and I'll see you all in April.